Council has joined us. I'm gonna call this meeting to order. City of Anamosa City Council agenda regular session, Monday, March 8th, 2021, 6 p.m. Anamosa Library and Learning Center, room 1.0 roll call.
Crump,
Here.
Smith,
Here.
Lockhart,
Here.
Zumba,
Here.
Stout,
Here.
Capron,
Here.
All council members are present this evening. 2.0 Pledge of Allegiance.
Flag of the United
States
States
of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We do have two council members who are joining us virtually this evening. So I'll ask that all decisions be cast by roll vote. With that, 3.0 approval of agenda.
Move to approve.
Second. Move to approve.
A motion by Kay, second by John, to approve the agenda as it is before us this evening. Any further discussion with council? Will you conduct the roll vote?
Smith,
Yes.
Lockhart,
Yes.
Zumba,
Yes.
Crump,
Yes.
Stout,
Yes.
Capron,
Yes.
Motion to approve the agenda carried unanimously. Rebecca, would you please brief those that are joining us virtually how to get your attention when it comes time for public comments through the agenda items?
Sure. Everybody joining us on Zoom, you can get my attention by one of two ways. The first way is you can send me a chat. The other way is that you can raise your hand. The raise your hand option on mobile devices, I think, is you can find it under the ... more option. For those on computers, you can click on the reactions option and there should be a raise your hand there. And that should get my attention, and I will let you know when it's your turn to speak once the mayor has opened it to the public. That's all I have.
Thanks, Rebecca. 4.0, motion to approve the minutes from the following meetings. 4.1, February 22nd, 2021, regular city council meeting.
So move to approve.
Alan, second by John. Any amendments to the minutes as submitted? Any questions or concerns? Beth, would you conduct a roll vote, please?
Capron,
Yes.
Stout,
Yes.
Zumba,
Yes.
Lockhart,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Crump,
Yes.
Motion to approve the minutes as submitted carried unanimous. 5.0, public hearings. 5.1, public hearing to review a state revolving fund SRF loan for well number 6 and to make available to the public an environmental information document and the city's project plan. I will open the public hearing. Regular question, Beth, has anybody contacted you or City Hall inquiring about this?
I haven't had no public comment, either verbally or in writing.
Council has no further discussion. Does public have any comment? Motion to close the public hearing.
Move to close the hearing.
Motion by
Second.
Al, Second by, was that Rich or Jeff?
Jeff, I believe.
Jeff. Thanks, Jeff.
Thanks.
Motion by Alan, second by Jeff to close the public hearing.
Lockhart,
Yes.
Zumba,
Yes.
Stout,
Yes.
Capron,
Yeah.
Crump,
Yes.
Yes.
Motion closed, public hearing carried unanimous. 6.0 proclamations, none. 7.0 old business. 7.1 review and approval of fire station addition preliminary design. Chief Shada. So would you come up to the mic, Chief? State your name. And
Tim Shada. I am the fire chief here in Anamosa.
So we really are bringing this forward because it's the preliminary and we just wanted to make sure that we were still on track. But we didn't want to move forward without at least having council approval on the preliminary design and cost estimate.
what was the cost estimate submitted by the lowest or by the whoever has quoted? You have a breakdown of that, Chief?
They've got cost of the design that latest we gave them was 658,750. And then they've got a list of unknown costs in there. Concrete wall for existing grades was 70. Structural fill was 35,000. They need to reinforce the south end of our building for snow drift, which is 20. Add an existing or add an exhaust fan in the existing building was 15. New electrical service backfeed existing building was 20. And an emergency generator is 45. And I've been in contact with an electrician who seems to believe that the generator we have now is large enough to carry both loads.
How old is that generator?
Jeff, do you remember?
Could you repeat that into the mic, somebody?
Restate what Jeff.
Of approximately around 2006 or 2007, 15 years.
Did it cause any problems or anything?
It has not, and it gets regular maintenance every year.
You feel comfortable with it?
Pardon me?
You feel comfortable with
I
it?
do. It does run every Sunday morning on a timer like it's supposed to. Runs for about 15 minutes. And no, we haven't had any issues with it at all.
Okay. So your feeling is that it'd be a good idea just to use the one we got according to it?
Status quo, yes.
Okay. How much did they want for a new one?
They've got a price of 45,000.
Yeah, okay.
I'm very much in favor of the fire station, but it does appear to be a bit over budget. Do you have plans to compensate for the figures that we have been given and the money that we have allotted?
We've been trying to adjust what we're putting in it as far as different rooms, things like that. We've got it broke down now to just stub-in bathrooms. But this is the first time I've ever been involved in anything like this, and I feel their estimates are a little higher than what they're probably going to be around here. I guess my point is I'd like to move it along and get it out to bids, and there is still a few contractors around here that are donating a large amount to this project. So I would like to get it to a point where they come back with exactly what we're having in it as far as plumbing, lights, heating, whatever. It goes to bids. We can also discuss it as a membership at the department. But I firmly believe that with contractors around here, I don't feel it's going to be that high.
Okay, thank you.
I think you're right.
I do see Ron is, so Ron Hins is our architect. He is on the call. Rebecca, I don't know if you want to unmute him, if he wanted to speak at all.
Sure, I can ask him to.
Yeah, this is Ron from Shive Hattery, and you know, the cost estimate that we presented in the SD cost is basically just historical costs that we've received from other contractors and stuff that have done similar projects, and you know, with the public bidding laws, the contractors that are looking to donate, if you would, to the project would be under the requirements to bid the project the same as other contractors were. Obviously, if their bids are low because of their donation or participation in that would be reflected in their cost, and they more than likely would be successful, but they would be required to bid the project. So
Yes, I understand that.
yeah.
So that would be our next step then.
Right, so they'll finalize the design, they'll get the bid documents together. We would do a bid letting. Ron, correct me if I'm wrong. If we do get bids that are way out of line, we can always reject all the bids and start fresh. So if we did happen to be way out of budget, then we at least have the option to regroup.
You can, yes, yes.
Move to approve.
I'll second that.
Motion by Kay, second by Alan to approve the preliminary designs with cost estimates. Any further council discussion? Is there any public comment? Could you come up to the mic and state your name, please?
This is Jackie Schneider, and my question that I would have for the chief is, does this include any updates or modifications to the existing structure in that amount?
No. No, at this point, we have not crossed that issue yet. We wanted to see what the bids were going to come to. The building doesn't need a whole lot. There's a possibility of reskinning the roof. And then the other thing is to make sure the outside metal of both buildings match. So that would be something that would more than likely have to be changed also.
Any other public comment or question? Beth, would you conduct the roll call, please?
Zumba,
Yes.
Stout,
Yes.
Hebron,
Yes.
Crum,
Yes.
Yes.
Lockhart,
Yes.
Motion to approve carried unanimous. 7.2, review and approval of police station renovation project qualifications and services proposal. Brian Stark, Martin Garner, architect.
do you see Brian on there, Rebecca?
Brian Stark, you said?
Yep.
Yes, I do. I asked him to unmute.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for inviting me tonight.
Thank you. Do you just want to kind of give an overview of kind of what we're looking at?
Yeah, so we were requested to put in a proposal for services for renovation of the former restaurant slash winery project that you guys have acquired for the purposes of moving the police department over there. We understand that the city has allocated a set amount of funds towards the project, and that those funds included proposed professional services fees, which we have indicated in our proposal. The city is looking at keeping this project at or under $700,000 threshold. We've got a lot of experience with renovation projects of various sites. I myself have a lot of experience personally in the emergency services realm, police, fire, and EMS facilities, a lot of them with similar budgets and in communities the size and the scope of Anamosa. So I've included a list of examples there. We've included a fee proposal that we feel would be sufficient for a project size, scope, and budget that the city is looking forward to. And this would be a full services contract, including full design, construction, administration, and services and bidding, which would be a typical contract that Martin Gardner would put forth with a city municipality, including the public bidding aspects of it. There's only 2 items that we did not include in our proposal. Those would be any needed civil engineering services, and then any needed asbestos testing and or abatement that could come up as a part of the investigation into the building. Those are 2 kind of unknowns at this time, as we haven't gotten into the design or the exploratory phases of the project.
Thanks for that brief update.
Thank you.
Does the council have any questions for Brian? Is there a motion to approve?
So moved to approve. I'll second.
A motion by John, second by Alan to approve the renovation project. Any further council discussion? Any public comment? Beth, please conduct the roll vote.
Stout,
Yes.
Crump,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Capron,
Yes.
Lockhart,
Yes.
Zumba.
Yes.
Motion to approve the renovation project and services by Martin Garner carried unanimous. 7.3, review and approval of wayfinding sign design, Derek Plums, Jones County Economic Development.
Good evening, everyone. How are you?
Good,
Good, thank you.
Good. So you probably saw you had a number of options and stuff in your packet. I just wanted to go over them a little bit. So the first 3 designs were designs that were gauged for vehicular traffic only. So there are ones like when you turn off of 151 or whatever that would direct you places. So they'll be a little higher and a little bigger. So those are your first 3 that you'll show in your packet. The second 3 are more geared towards downtown, where you might have both vehicular traffic and pedestrian going, so they'd be visible easily to both sets of groups. And then the third set, it deals with parking lots. So people would see on the front side, on the street side, they would see something that indicated it was parking, city parking lot, something like that. And on the back side, it's sort of like a "you are here" map at the mall, shows where you are and shows some areas of interest within a few blocks of that particular parking space. So all 3 of these sets are designed to work interconnectedly to get people from, say, 151 or out of Fairview Way all the way down to parking and then back out to some of those different sites along the way. These signs are just generic in terms of what would be on them. They wanted to give you an idea of the 3 different options for logo and design, and they just put some generic stuff like downtown, parking, school. The actual things that would go on would obviously depend on where they are. You also received 2 location maps, one that shows some of them on the periphery, So on Elm Street, Scott Street, 3rd Street, and then one that's broke down a little more that shows parking and the downtown in more detail of where those would go or where we're expecting them to go. Last week, I met with Shane and a couple of guys from the street department to talk about where we might be able to locate some of them. The ones on the periphery, so on like 3rd Street, some of those are easier to place. The ones that are in the downtown along Main Street were a little tougher because we don't want to bore into the concrete. We don't want to knock any holes in that. We don't want to have to dig for anything. And we didn't want to get in the way of banners or Christmas lights or trees or anything in the downtown. So after a conversation with Shane and his guys, the thought was that there are 3 sets of cluster lights in your downtown, one at Main and Garnavillo, one at Main and Ford, and a set at Main and Huber. And since they don't have any accoutrements on them, we thought those might be the perfect place to put the downtown signs, and they're marked on your map. So it was just sort of a brief, quick overview of what's been going on with this. I didn't know if anybody had any questions regarding the designs or anything along those lines.
I do have one question for you, Derek.
Yeah.
Did you say that the logo on these are what you're looking at, like the light green, dark green, and so forth behind it?
I'm sorry.
Is that the logos you're looking at?
Rich,
What's that?
you cut out. I didn't hear that question.
The logos on the signs, are those the logos you're looking to use?
Potentially, that was the one that came from the city's website. So that's the one we gave them. But on the second design on each of them, it's just welcome to Anamosa, Iowa. There's not a logo part of that. That way, if you ever change your logo again, that one would say relatively static. But the other 2 designs do incorporate the current Anamosa logo off your website.
Because that's not the logo I thought we were using. I thought it was kind of the A within the pump.
So the A that's on the on the signs is actually from our old website.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah, it was the logos that were on every page of that one.
Okay, and that might be the signage company probably pulled it before you all switched over. So that, I mean, that's something that's easy to change from a design perspective. So if you want the one of these and want the A logo with the pumpkin in there, that can be changed.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, Derek, obviously these are more designed and more eye-catching, but I did notice just probably in the last couple months, I think there are some new ones that are really generic, just say maybe schools and stuff. Have you noticed those? There's maybe down towards Main and Scott, and maybe one along 3rd Street. I'm not sure who paid for those or who put those up, but they're not terribly eye-catching, but they are newer. So maybe stagger from where those are slightly.
Well, one of the things that the signage company looked at was Anamosa has a plethora of signs that a lot that are very old. So they're going to give recommendations on which one that could probably be taken down or condensed.
Yeah.
So I've seen the school ones that you're talking about. I know, I'm not sure who paid for them either. But from a distance perspective, I know that it's harder to see some of those. You can't see them till up close, so they're further away from the intersection. So they did take that into account as well when they were designing these. Like I said, this is just sort of a generic design. So school may come off of them if the school ones stay up because it'd be pointless to duplicate those.
Yeah.
Up.
Well, I like the idea of condensing some of these signs into one sign instead of having so many multiples
Yeah, 'cause
out there.
You get so many and you just don't notice. No, it's just
Right.
overload.
Yeah. So they are working.
I like this condensing them to one sign.
Yep, and we think there's a lot of places that can be done. There might, 4 corners might be a little tricky just so you can go so many different ways. But if even we can condense it down to just what the school sign is and everything else, we think that'll really clean that up and make them a lot easier to see.
So what do you need from us tonight?
Well, it's hard for them to put any sort of pricing estimate or anything together without knowing which sign design you like. So my hope was that you'd try to decide on, those first 3 pages, which one design you want to go after so we could get it priced and go from there. And then we just follow it through on all the other types of signs to keep them consistent.
Well, I kind of like this one. I'm not sure what page it's on. It's sign type E21.1. Because it looks like you can change out the plates on that one.
You cannot change out the plates. These are a static sign. E2,
What?
1, 2, 3, you can change out the plates.
Oh,
Say that again.
So on option 3 of 3, if you're looking at your, oh wait, no. These are all E211. If you look, Rich, so it'd be the third page of the E21.1. Down at the bottom right, it says option 3 of 3. And it looks like it's sort of see-through.
Yeah, that's the one.
Okay.
Yep, that's the one.
That was going to be my.
You can change those plates out, right?
yeah.
Yes, you can. And Beth
Yeah,
made a suggestion too, is that from
What's
that
that?
very, Beth made a suggestion as well, from that very first sign where it says welcome to Anamosa at the bottom. I talked to the signage company. They can put that easily onto the bottom of this other frame too, if you wanted to have.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because things always change, so or something might get damaged or whatever. But if we can change out the plates without having to redo the whole sign, I kind of like that idea.
Or,
Yeah,
or if something comes through that maybe would be more important to, something like Ragbri say, but wouldn't on a daily basis be as crucial. I don't know. I'm just thinking as that example, you could throw on there for a short time, even if you had to.
Yep. I mean, you just have to, whatever the extra cost of that plate would be down the road, something you could easily design and get put up there though.
It's
Right.
like shipping or something. And point
Yeah,
in the direction.
it could point to a lot of different things.
Yeah.
Yep.
I just like them. I like them. They're a little
Yeah.
more brand. They're a little more branded. They're not just generic that nobody notices. You go down to Marion and places like that. They have feels a little more homey, a little more branded than just your generic sign. So
Absolutely.
Yeah, that would be my favorite one at this point in time.
is that a motion, Rich?
Yeah, I'll make the motion for that. Was it option 3?
Yep.
I'll second that.
And with the change of the logo to the current city logo?
Yep, I can get that done. Sorry about that.
Yeah, that's all right.
We have a motion by Rich, second by Jeff to go with option 3 in the packet. And bringing in the current logo to replace the illustration that you have. Any further council discussion? Public comment? Beth?
Crump,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Lockhart,
Yes.
Zumba,
Yes.
Stout,
Yes.
Apron,
Yes.
Motion carried unanimous. Thanks for the presentation,
Thank you.
Derek. 7.4, review and award of CDBG construction contract to Tricon of Dubuque. Derek Lumsman, Jones County Economic Development.
All right, so since you went out to bid at the end of January, we've had 2 pre-bid construction meetings. We had 4 interested contractors for that. They were here on the 26th when bids were due and opened. As you can see from the bid sheet that was included, Tricon Construction out of Dubuque was the low bidder at $885,000 for the base bid on those 10 buildings. They have been checked out through the state. They are eligible for this program. They have done these before. So they do have the experience in doing the downtown facade renovations as well. So tonight we're just asking for you all to execute the contract that you approved a couple of meetings ago as part of the spec book. And then that way we can get the construction agreements and owner easement signed and hopefully get this project kicked off in April.
So this is for the base, and then the 4 columns are the add-ons to that base.
Yes, if the owners want to do that, they can do that and it'll be part of their easement and construction agreement.
Okay.
I'll move to approve the contract.
Second.
I'll second.
A motion by Alan, second by Kay, to approve and execute the contract with Tricon. Any further council discussion? Public comment? Bill?
Capron,
Yes.
Crump,
Yes.
Yes.
Stout,
Yes.
Zumba,
Yes.
Lockhart.
Yes. Thank you.
Motion carried unanimous. Thanks, Jerry, for that presentation. 8.0, new business. Introduction of Chad McLary with Ion Environmental.
Chad is the person who's been our operator in charge at the wastewater plant for the past couple of months now. Or month and a half.
Yep, started the 1st of February. Good evening, everybody. I'm Chad McClary with Ion Environmental. I'm pretty much here just to introduce myself, make myself available for any questions council might have. The city hired me basically to be the grade 3 wastewater operator at your wastewater facility for the time being. So I've been doing that since the start of February, and I'm kind of your official representative, so to speak, with the state of Iowa with regards to your wastewater system. So again, just more wanted to introduce myself and make myself available to any comments or questions or anything like that at all.
We owe a debt of gratitude. And you're doing quite well. We
Oh,
appreciate it very much.
Well, thank you.
How many hours you required? I didn't know if you'd be here.
So I'm coming 3 days a week for roughly 2 to 4 hours on the days that I'm here. It kind of depends on what's going on. If there's not a lot happening, I might only stay for a couple hours. But the other day we did some work to the screen at the headworks of the wastewater plant, and I was there pretty much for 8 hours that day getting that stuff done. So there's certain things that pop up that need that. I'm certainly there to do that. But in general, I would say it's 3 days a week for 2 to 4 hours, depending on what's going on.
That meets the requirements of DNR.
Yes. So before we structured the agreement, I reached out to Amber Sauser with Field Office 1 out of Manchester and specifically asked her what the DNR would like to see with regards to how we're going to do that.
Okay,
She
that's good.
basically asked that at least be on site 3 days a week for a few hours. So that's pretty much what we're doing currently.
Good. Need to keep DNR happy.
Yes, that's always the goal. That is always the goal in the water and wastewater industry. That's what we're after all the time, for sure. I'd say some of the just being there for a little over a month now, the biggest things we've focused on so far have been getting the belt press a little bit more under control, getting that running a little bit better. I feel we've accomplished that. Really getting the screen fixed was one of the biggest things. There was a lot of trash making its way through our actual system, making all the way through to the sludge. So we want to make sure we address that. We were able to get to prison to get their screen fixed. And then we actually discovered there was a hole in the back of our screen at the wastewater plant. And that basically allows the waste that we're trying to take out, just the trash, it pretty much was taking it out and then putting it right back in on the backside. So we were able to pull that out. Dave Carson was able to weld that up. We got that put back in. So that should make a very big change. So those kind of the big things we focused on. I made a few little adjustments here and there just with the overall operation of the plant. Nothing too terribly crazy, but mainly the goal is just try to operate as efficiently as we can. And if we can make some positive changes, great. And if anything else that's running fine, we're just going to go ahead and leave that alone.
So you're 5 weeks of serving the interim for us. Have you identified any AOCs, areas of concerns that maybe some gaps, shortcomings that we have that we need to address?
Well, we've kind of started with that. Like I said, the belt press was a big one that I had some concerns with how that was operating. So that was kind of number one. Our polymer dose was off by quite a bit, which was causing some real significant problems with how we were dewatering the sludge. Basically, for those who do not know, what we're doing there at the plant is we take the sludge wet, and in order to save costs on land applying and how we because we have to put that in trucks and haul it off site. If we were to do that wet, we'd be spending a lot of money hauling just a large portion of mainly just water. So what we do at the plant is we actually dewater the sludge as much as we can through what's called a belt press. And that's nothing more than kind of a gravity process and a pressure process. We basically take two belts and we squeeze the sludge to try to dewater it. So there were some issues with how that was operating, and trying to get that dialed in a little bit better. And like I said, I feel like we definitely did that. We even reached out to another consultant who specializes in belt presses, and we had them come out after we'd already made some changes, and he was very satisfied with the changes that we had made and felt that we were making a very good, I know it's not very appetizing, but we call it a cake. And we were making a very good cake, and he felt that we were getting very, very good dewatering at that point. So that is one of the biggest ones. Again, other areas of concern were simply just that screen was a big problem. I will admit I was fairly alarmed with the amount of trash that I saw in the actual basins themselves. I'd never quite seen a system that was having that bad of a problem with that regard. So getting that fixed is going to go a long way, because the problem with that, what we end up having is that trash travels through the entire system. And when I say trash, I'm talking about things like gum wrappers, just anything like that you can imagine, a Snickers bar wrapper, anything like that. That can make it all the way to the sludge. And when we go to land apply that, not many farmers are going to want to take the city sludge if they're going to be covering their field with a bunch of garbage. And so that was a major concern of mine to get that taken care of. And like I said, we were able to get that pulled out last week, and Dave was able to do the patch on the back, and that'll make a very, very big difference moving forward for sure. We did one last thing to mention. I run a certified environmental laboratory. So we also took on the sampling for the city as well. So we're doing all the wastewater sampling. That's all being run through my laboratory. There are a few samples that I do contract out with a larger lab that are a little bit more complicated samples, things like mercury and some stuff like that. But for the most part, I'm running the city samples, and judging by what the city was paying before and what I'd quoted to Beth, the city is saving a fairly nice, sizable piece of money by going with my laboratory. So we're going to continue to do that at some point, depending on what council would like to do. I know moving forward, there's going to be some interviews that looking at, hiring a full-time grade 3 operator from the city. I have spoken with Beth. This will be something for council to consider and for the community to consider. I have spoken with Beth about the idea of contracting with my company to continue to do the operations at the wastewater treatment plant. So that's something that we're going to talk about a little bit further. Again, obviously that's something not really to talk about too much tonight, but that is certainly something we can talk about here moving forward and see what the city might like to do with that. So.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments or anything that I can address? Okay. Well, thank you so much for having me, and have a good rest of your meeting.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
8.2, discussion of possible action on utility bill dispute with Judy Rose of 206 South Davis, Anamosa, Iowa. Michelle Rose presented.
Good evening, everyone. We've been having some issues with one of my mom's water bills, and it's escalated quite a bit to shut off notices, a whole bunch of other different stuff. Did you all receive my email with my mom's original letter dated back in November? Yes. Okay. Because that pretty much sums up everything that we've been going through. If you don't mind, I can read it. I am writing this letter to request my last water bill be recalculated. This is dated November 22nd. It has only been recently that I read in the Anamosa City ordinances that there is a procedure to follow when the homeowner feels there's an error in the billing. I had talked to Linda several times over the past few months regarding my water bill. I received a call in September. There seemed to be a problem with the meter read as it came back that zero water had been used in the previous month. I explained to her that should be correct as I have not been living at the address since around May, so no one was living there. The next month, Linda gave me a courtesy call to inform me that my next bill will be around $500. I was speechless as my living arrangement still had me not living in my house. And with my security cameras, there was no evidence that someone was stealing the water from the outside spigot. Linda suggested we stop by the city hall to pick up a dye kit used to check your toilets to see if it was running. It was not. My daughter walked the house inside and out, and there was no telltale signs of any water was leaking from pipes, faucets, or toilets. All likely areas were dry as a bone. Next, we decided to have the meter changed out and tested. The waterworks worker came, but was unable to completely get the valve before the meter to shut off. So replacement did not happen at that time. He even tried to locate the main shutoff, but was unsuccessful there too. He did keep the valve shut off inside the house when we left. It was suggested I get a plumber out to check out the house and plumbing and have him fill out a form I can turn into the city to possibly have the sewer side of my bill waived. My daughter spoke to a plumber, explained the situation, and was told he would do the exact same thing my daughter has already done. My daughter did request a daily usage breakdown on water usage, but was informed that was not possible, that the only readings are done at billing, so we could not pinpoint a time frame of excessive usage. Linda did get a hold of my daughter about the October meter read. There was a problem with it that the meter couldn't be read. So in the course of 3 months, the meter reported 0 water usage, excessive usage to the tune of $500 with no evidence of pipes broken, leaking, or being stolen from outside, to not being able to obtain a reading at all. During all of this, Linda was adamant that the $500 bill will stand, even though I wanted to dispute it. My only option was to pay it in full and hope the city council would refund the sewer portion. As I am a widow on a strict income, I could not afford to do this, especially adding the cost of a plumber to sign off. I've received 2 notices at the time of this writing, taped with packing tape to my front door with shut-off notices, and my water was shut off, or so we thought. Now back to the city ordinances. The 92.04 right to protest. Any person having any cause to question or contest his or her water and sewer bill may file a protest in writing with the clerk within the time provided for payment. The protest shall succinctly set forth the basis for the party's challenge. Upon receipt such protest, the clerk shall suspend collection efforts with regard to the bill and shall schedule a time for the aggrieved party to address the council. Discontinuation of service is 92.05. The city may discontinue the water and sewer service afforded to any party who has failed to pay the water and sewer bill within 20 days unless the party has protested their water and sewer billing as provided for in the preceding section. We did not know about the in writing, and it was explained to us that it was on the actual bills that were mailed out. And the only thing that it says is if you have questions regarding this billing, please contact our office. So my mom back in September verbally contested that it's like, hey, there is something wrong with my bill, because she's a single person living in that house by herself. She has not lived there since the end of April, beginning of May, because she's been diagnosed with stage 4 cancer and has been undergoing treatments, and she cannot live on her own anymore. We have 2 Ring cameras, both pointing in the areas that we can see if the spigots were being siphoned off of. Neighbors never saw anything. There's nothing on the cameras. And we did let the ladies know that we did some power washing because we're trying to get the house ready to sell. And they said that that would attribute to what the $500 bill was. The only problem was the power washing was completed by August 4th. And so our August billing was $132.48, which my mom paid on September 25th. It was a September usage that was $554.94. There was nobody at the house. No, we weren't over there cleaning. We ran no water, nothing. And just the resistance that we've had, we've only, up to recently, we've only been receiving the shut-off notices taped to the door, which here it says Your door has been posted, the past due amount and doorpost fee must be paid in full by the due date stated above. Payment must be received before noon to avoid disconnect of water service. And this one was due by January and it was up to $732 due to all the fees. And the one thing that my mom wanted me to let you guys know, we've never not wanted to pay the water bill. We're contesting the September water bill for being so out of sorts of exactly what my mom used. Her normal usage was under 50. I'm not sure what the amount is, but her average billing was about between $39.81 and $55.84. And then we jump up to $554. Let's see. There was also notices that the city should have mailed out to my mother after we contested it. And Beth, what was that letter supposed to have been? The first one?
You received the letter.
The letter that I received
I
from you
mailed
was
it.
about the
Curb stop.
curb stop, but that's not,
That's the notice. That's the only notice you should have gotten from me, was that we were unable to suspend your water service because the curb stop was broken, which is why they couldn't change the meter out
okay.
in October, which you were aware of, which I explained to you. I did that as a courtesy. so
I
as not
understand
to
it's a
require you to
courtesy.
Do an $800 curb stop repair on top of the bill. I have sent you that letter since it's become an issue, so.
Right, and we appreciate that letter, but there should have been a letter sent out prior to all of this in regards to us, my mom contesting it.
I do not send you a letter for anything, any kind of contest. You had sent me the original email.
Mhm.
The phone numbers on the email, Linda and I both left voicemails on.
Okay.
You told me when you finally sent the second email with a different phone number that you didn't get those voicemails. So it is not that we did not try and contact you about the protest.
Okay.
We did. I have talked to the plumber.
Mhm.
I've talked to both of the employees who visited your residence or your mother's residence.
Mhm.
I've included with the council packet all of the notes from the account. We were told by you, or Linda was,
Mhm.
that you were having Schaefer Plumbing winterize the house and turn the water off. I did check with Schaefer Plumbing because that would have triggered us to turn the water off. We had asked to have the water turned off several times and you refused, or no one would call us to make an appointment to turn the water off due to the broken curb stop.
Okay.
If we would have turned the water off, that would have stopped the penalties and everything else. But there's been no attempt to make a payment or anything
Right.
else since previously.
Because we're not trying to contest the excessive bill.
Right. I understand that, but you also told Schaefer Plumbing and both of our people that you had power washed the exterior of the house and the basement.
Right, but that was completed before August 5th.
You told me it was in July.
We thought, I went back and I
July,
checked.
And I told you that July shows 0 usage. And I would like to have a receipt from whoever power washed your house where they.
It was family.
Where they purchased the bulk water, because if you were hooked up to the meter running the power washer, according to the plumber, you would have used a minimum of 3 gallons per minute.
Right.
Power washing.
I understand that.
So looking at the usage, that does not make sense with what's on here.
You're right. It does not make sense.
No, your bill should have been, you should have gotten the $500 bill. You still should have gotten that. That's how much water a power washer would have used.
But you don't know what power washer we used. You don't know how long.
You didn't bring anything in for that.
Because there was nothing.
I tried to make an exception.
Beth,
To
There
do
was nothing to
sewer
bring in
forgiveness.
because family did it. We did it with our own personal time and power washers.
I understand that, but that.
And it was
doesn't
done.
mean That the water did not go through the meter.
Well, and I know you accused us of stealing the water.
Well, you told me it was in July and there was 0 usage, and I told you I needed to have a receipt done from where you purchased the water because it did not go through our.
I understand. And then we got accused of stealing.
I said that would be considered water theft if that was actually the month you did the power washing. I did not say you stole it. I just said I needed to see a receipt that would explain the water usage for a month that showed 0.
And
usage.
so for the August usage of $132, which is higher than what my mother's bill normally would be, would account for the power washing that had been done that day. But nobody being in the house, using in the property at all, it jumps up to 554 for September usage.
You were also explained to us that you did have it listed with a real estate agent.
Right.
And that you did not have control of the property, that agent did.
Right. But we
So-
also have the Ring cameras that we know who comes and goes.
We've had this discussion.
We
many
have.
times. I thought we've had things resolved.
No, we
I-
have not. There's
And-
also, let's see, the bottom of my letter. So in the course of 3 months, the meter reported 0 water usage, excessive usage to the tune of $500 with no evidence of pipes broken, to not being able to attain a reading at all. See, as of November 22nd, time of this writing, I am formally contesting my excessive water bill. There has not been anyone living in my home since May due to my recent diagnosis, stage 4 lung cancer, and the inability to live on my own. Minimal water usage after my family power washed my basement outside in July. Any attempts made by myself or my daughter to voice her opinion that there had to be something wrong with the meter was met with unconditional denial. That there has never been a meter that has failed their test. There's a history of excessive water bills in my neighborhood. At least 2 other neighbors have had to pay excessive bills that was totally out of character of their average bills, and the only option they were given was to pay it. Another code that I was sent was Iowa Code 384.84 parentheses C3. A city utility or enterprise service to a property or premises shall not be discontinued or disconnected unless prior written notice is sent by ordinary mail to the account holder in whose name the delinquent rates or charges were incurred, informing the account holder of the nature of the delinquency and affording the account holder the opportunity for a hearing prior to discontinuance or disconnection of service. If the account holder is a tenant and if the owner or landlord of the property or premises have made a written request for notice, the notice shall also be given to the owner or landlord. If the account holder is a tenant and requests a change of name for service under the account, such request shall be sent to the owner of the landlord. Request for notice any change of name for service under the account property. That is the letter.
Per Iowa law, your doorpost is your letter. We do not send it through regular mail. You
It
can
says right
see-
here, Iowa code, it needs to be sent by mail.
It is not.
Through
going to be
regular
sent
mail.
By regular mail. We post it on the door.
Okay,
It is posted. It is not sent through regular mail. The thing you get through regular mail is your reminder notice that you're delinquent. The shut off notice is posted on your door.
okay,
So you get a reminder notice, a bill, and a door posting. Those are your 3 contacts. 2 of them are by regular mail. 1 is by hand delivery.
but this is Iowa code.
I understand that. We follow the Iowa code.
Then,
Your reminder notice came to you by mail. If
But
you
this
did
is-
not get the reminder notice time frame, you get door posted. Your door post gives you a 24-hour notice for shut off.
when you and I talked at the end of January,
Several times.
I think that the council needs to hear the information, and then they would likely be tasked to make a decision.
I have all my mom's water bills.
At one point, we did offer to go ahead and make a payment, half of the original bill, or the original bill minus the sewer side and all the fees retracted. So half of the original water bill. That was denied.
No, it was not.
You did not accept that offer.
I did accept that offer.
No,
You just didn't fill out the paperwork to do the payment arrangement.
no,
We did accept that offer. That's what I thought we were doing.
no,
Yeah.
no. Let's see, the notes that I took during that meeting was, will not waive fees. Best they can do is sewer forgiveness. She did admit that they did not notify us in writing within the 10 days. October 25th would have been the magical date. A verbal or phone call does not count. That was the notes that I took from our conversation that day. So we should have received in writing by October 25th.
No, that's, you have to notify us in
Okay.
writing. I don't notify you in writing
Okay.
of anything other than a shut off or a delinquent.
So I guess what we are battling about right now is what can we do about this bill? My mom started back in September when she got the original phone call disputing the bill. And again, like I said, it's escalated up to, it's over $800 now. She never not intended to ever pay the water bill. They've been over here since 2004, 2005, and she's always paid their bill. And for this to be so far out of character for one of her water bills, I did take a picture of the water meter back on October 10th, or the reader.
That's an old reader.
Right,
The new
right,
one is actually a tan box.
right.
That one is not used.
Okay. Well, what I'm saying is that the picture that I took, the insides of the box was filthy, full of spider webs, and the metal piece was not seated correctly to be sitting over the knob for the satellite read.
It was an old radio read when they were still the round ones. Our radio reads now are the square.
I can't hear you, Beth.
The radio read she's speaking of is the old round radio read, which we no longer use. Now they're the square boxes.
They're hooked directly to the meter, correct?
Right.
They're not run through any of the things outside, except that little box.
Correct.
They're,
So, Michelle, what are you asking for?
I am asking for the council to reconsider my mom's $800 plus water bill at this point.
Well, if I'm seeing this right, Beth, correct me if it's mistaken. Right now, we're looking at $835.02.
Correct. That's the correct amount.
How many months do we have of higher than normal bills? I mean, we had the $500 month. How many months? Remind me, Beth.
Just that one. Because the month prior, the $130-some one would have been the month that we were power washing. So we don't dispute that one because we used the water.
What was the offer for the sewer forgiveness?
That would be $248.67.
Okay, so we could still offer you that.
In your guys's ordinance, talks about if there's
I
a resident can test,
I understand what
you
you're
can
talking
go back
about.
12 months and do,
I understand what you're talking about, but I believe that City Hall has probably been over a little bit offering that sewer forgiveness because your water didn't even go down the sewer, the way it sounds.
For the
And
month
we're
of July,
talking- We're talking
or
about the
beginning of
the
August.
pressure washing.
You're right.
It goes directly into the ground. So I mean,
Well, the pressure washing for the exterior of the house, you also claim to pressure wash the inside in the basement.
Right.
That would have gone down to floor drain, which would have gone into the sewer.
so
Right. But that's not the bill that we're contesting. That bill, we understand, and my mom paid that one. That was the $132 one.
So I guess one question I would have, if I'm hearing you correctly, you're saying no one was at the residence?
No.
So how do you know the stool did not run?
We picked up one of the test strips from City Hall. We went up there. I put it in the toilet top, waited the 20 minutes, went back, and there was no leakage. The other toilet in the basement had been shut off.
A stool can run,
Right,
then you could use it, and it could not run.
right.
Then use it again, it could run, it's
Are you-
either
Within the past
broke or
year,
half broke.
in the past year, I had replaced the innards of the toilet. So it was not running.
But no one was there, you can't say without a doubt that something didn't run. If nobody
Actually,
occupied the residence.
my mom keeps the toilet upstairs shut off. Turns it on and shuts it off. So it doesn't run.
It does not take much of a leak to spend $300.
Oh, I understand that.
Believe me, I know.
I'll attest that too, because I called down and said there's something wrong with your meters at City Hall, and I found out.
So
I-
the curb stop has been and continues to be non-functional, broken.
I'm not sure about, I never did understand that part of our conversation. We're told that nobody can find it. But then the letters are saying that it's non-functional.
Which if we can't find, if it's not located and usable, then it's not functional. We can't turn off your water. So you need to hire a plumber to either find the curb stop or fix what's wrong with the curb stop. We have tried to locate it. I'm not sure if they were able to locate it. One of them said that it was just broken. But I've also heard that it was unable to be located. The notes say that it's broken.
Okay.
So
So
a plumber has to come and fix that. You can either do it or the city will do it for you.
I understand that.
Next week, and you'll be sent the bill.
See, back at the end of January, we finally agreed to have a cap put on the valves in the basement because we can't find the stop. So
Looking back over time, it'd been beneficial to do it day one.
well, we didn't want to because trying to sell the house, people are going to want to check the water pressure. How can they check the water pressure if we have the water shut off?
Which is why.
So we're not contesting the monthly usage except for the month of $500.
If you continue to contest, what's going to happen is the fees are going to go up. This needs to be settled tonight.
Absolutely.
And I myself am still willing to do what Beth said and allow the sewer forgiveness, but you're kind of stuck. And I feel bad for you in that sense, but it happened to me. And I'm sitting here on the council now, hearing the same story that I had.
What was your story?
It's not necessary for me to bring that up. Let's just say that it was a big one, just like yours. But the thing is, it needs to be taken care of. And my suggestion is we resolve this tonight. And I think that we could probably allow her that sewer forgiveness yet, Beth?
Yeah, she should have all the.
And then
paperwork
we
for it.
subtract that off of there. And then you're just gonna have to, we could have to pay it.
I would like the fees reversed also.
What's that?
I would like the monthly fees. I'd like the original $500.
How long have you been contesting this?
Since the first phone call.
Well, it probably would have been a good time to take care of it then.
Well,
I apologize if I sound rude.
no, you're not. You're not being rude at all.
This is where you're at now. And continue contesting is just going to cost more money.
Okay.
Well, here, if I may just say something here?
Yes, please.
Because I've had this discussion in the past about notifying people that they need, if they want to contest the bill, to contest it in writing. That doesn't sound like that was done on the onset of this. And I think we need to make sure City Hall knows if somebody starts contesting, they need to be told to put it into writing. I don't know where that may have slipped up, but I think it needs to be done. And for that reason, I would be willing to have a discussion about the fees.
I'd appreciate that. Because all we were told was the bill stands.
That's not all you were told. There,
In a nutshell. Yeah, we could pay the $200 to have a plumber come out to receive a $200 rebate.
You did not have to pay to have Schaefer's come out.
Well,
I have.
we asked him to come out and he didn't show, so.
I have a statement from him stating that he did not charge you anything for the visit. So.
Yeah, we did not
There's
know
just some-
until I was digging into your city codes in November about the contesting and
Which is 2 months after the bill.
so, but we contested it from the moment my mom got the heads up phone call. She verbally said, that's not right.
Okay, we're repeating stuff. Okay,
Yes.
Rich,
What I
what's
would
your
like to-
thought?
Hold on, give me a second there, Alan. Rich, or council, we are looking at an $835.02 bill. That is what, in a sense, would be obligated to pay. Beth had suggested that, recommended to waive the sewer portion of that. That takes it down to roughly $586 and some change. To bring resolution to this, the council either needs to stand at the 835, the overall, or begin to waive portions of this. We can have the conversation to waive more than the sewer side, such as the fees. But we're just constantly going in a circle here and not getting anywhere.
If I may add,
So
City Code 90.57, assuming meter failure, charges estimated in the event of a water meter fail to register properly. The water charges for the monthly period involved shall be fixed on the basis of average water consumption measured by such meter for the preceding active 12 months. Additional usage may be added to cover anticipated usage until repairs are made.
So we know your meter didn't fail. You had a high usage. We called you. The plumber came out. We do not know what you used it for, but your usage went back to zero after it's been turned off. So we know that the meter is not failed.
Well,
The meter either will read or it will not read. Generally, the meter will run slower. So the older the meter gets, the less
That
the
I
slower
understand.
it runs. I've had this conversation with you at least twice.
Right.
About the meter. If this meter was malfunctioning, this meter read would have continued on. Because we have
You
not
don't know
been able
how,
to change the meter.
you don't know the behavior of how the
Well,
meter
do.
would.
Michelle,
Yes,
We've
sir.
had someone out 3 times.
Beth, council, I'm going to ask you to make a decision. If we need to have further discussion, I would prefer the additional discussion occur through the council. I really think we've heard all there is to hear at least twice.
Rich, what was your,
Well-
what were you thinking?
Well, if I'm close, I'm just doing quick calculations. With the fees, the penalties, and the sewer forgiveness, that'd be about roughly $378.
Mhm.
And I'm going based off of the fees, any fees that were done after September. Any late fees, penalties, whatever. And like I said, it's a rough calculation because I didn't throw in the cents or anything like that. So my thought would be to forgive $378.
From the 800 or from the 500?
From the,
Well, that would be, well, that 500 figure is including the sewer forgiveness. 580 is including sewer forgiveness. So it'd be another 130, say, off of that 580, which would take you down to 450.
Rich, that's basically, again, I'm just doing quick math as well. Started with the 835, took off the sewer forgiveness, and what you had mentioned, the fees, puts you around roughly $460.
Okay, and that's pretty much close to the original bill. Which,
But keep in mind, Michelle, the bill currently stands at $835.
I understand. I understand.
So I think council is
But we're
leaning
also
to
looking
work
at-
with you. It might be beneficial to allow that.
Okay.
Well, and the other part you got to remember too, is you still have the minimum fees for those months. Irregardless of what happened, you still have the minimum
Okay.
water bill for those months.
So the amount that
Which if there was a working curb stop, you wouldn't have had any minimum monthly fees, and you wouldn't have had any
penalties.
Leaking or penalties or, yeah. That.
Right.
So if you take the cost of minimum fees plus what's left, we're not really charging you that much more.
Okay.
So I think that sounds fair, that 450 that Rich brought up. Or
Okay,
whatever that figure
450. Can we have a letter sent to my mom?
What I'm gonna ask council is, I don't want to get caught up on a $450 figure or $460 figure. I'm gonna ask the council for clarification, what they are waiving. It sounds to me like they will probably come back through a motion and say, we're gonna waive the sewer portion of the overall bill and all applicable fees. I'll let Beth and City Hall figure out what the total is. And if that's the way this motion goes, that's what we'll be expecting.
and I would request that we had a time frame for payment.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We want this done as much as anybody else does.
Well, and if you're selling the house, you're gonna want it all cleaned up before the house gets sold.
Yep.
So my thought is, let's do the sewer forgiveness, which was Beth had mentioned, and let's forgive the penalties that have been occurred since September. That's my thought.
Rich, I'm figuring this is your motion.
Okay, I'll make it a motion.
Okay, would you include a timeline for final payment as well?
Well, how long will it take you to draw up what the final amount will be, Beth?
I don't know, half an hour tomorrow morning.
And Michelle,
Yes, sir.
are you gonna want this mailed to you? Are you going to come in and pick up a letter?
I would like it mailed, please.
So
Okay.
we need to have the payment when we do the adjustment on the account. Because right now the account is inactive because it's off. So there's not
Okay.
a bill that's gonna come out. Generally, when we do the sewer forgiveness, they just make payment and they get a receipt.
Okay, so
But
with
the letter-
that being said, what's that?
I was gonna say, but the letter can have everything figured and ready to go. So when we receive it, we know and we can come in. Is that correct?
Linda can call you with the amount in the morning.
Then you get a receipt when you come in and pay it.
Yes, exactly.
And where are we at as far as getting the a functional curb stop? Is this subject to that getting taken care of? Is there a timeline for getting that done? So,
Deadline will be Monday, the 15th. So the curb stop needs to be repaired by Monday, the 15th, or we will go in and repair it on the 16th. It's a 10-day according to our ordinance. turnaround for.
We would like to
notice.
request an extension on that also.
We
By the end of
cannot
the
make a
month?
Decision on that tonight. We shouldn't even be having much discussion on the curb stop because it is not part of the agenda item.
Gotcha.
The agenda item is dispute.
The water bill,
The
yes.
water bill.
Okay.
So, could it be safe to say within the motion that it will be paid by the end of the month,
By the end of March.
in the March?
If that's what you're.
What, well, let's just do, Michelle, how soon do you think you'd get it paid?
As soon as we have a number,
Okay.
probably by tomorrow
Okay.
afternoon,
So,
by tomorrow afternoon.
Let's have it paid within 15 days then. That way, if you put it in the mail, it should have time to get here, or you can hand deliver it.
Okay.
How's that?
It sounds good.
Okay.
There's your motion.
I'll second that motion.
We have a motion by Rich,
Thank you.
second by Alan.
Thank you.
As far as the water bill at 206 South Davis, the bill total will have less the sewer charges and less the delinquent fees paid within 15 days.
It'll only be the sewer forgiveness.
Sewer forgiveness, yes. Any further council discussion? Beth, please conduct the roll.
Crump,
Yes.
Smith. Yes. Mockart,
Yes.
Zumba,
Yes.
Stout,
Yes.
Capron,
Yes.
The motion carried unanimously.
Thank you.
Michelle, I want to end with that I believe the council has been more than generous in
Very much
dispute
so.
of this water.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Moving on, 8.3, renewal of EMC insurance policy with effective date of April 1st, 2021. Jackie Schneider of Schneider Weirs Insurance.
Good evening, council. Thank you for having me. This is Jackie Schneider with Schneider Weirs Insurance. We've been the long-term provider or the agent for this city. So we have extensive knowledge into what the city has going on from an insurance and risk perspective. Our agency considers it a privilege to serve the city. I grew up here, and I would just personally want to thank you for the opportunity to protect the city in this manner. We continue to have 6 licensed agents on staff to help you, in addition to the quotability to quote ICAP when the city is able to be in a loss control situation where we have some opportunity to quote out other than the EMC safety group. We also have a licensed full-time claims agent that assists the city with all of their claims and settlements, and that will continue into the future. Just as a reminder, the safety group's been in establishment for 42 years. The purpose is to create a consistent renewal for cities across the state of Iowa. They've done a pretty stable job of that in providing dividend returns to the cities that they serve for all of the years that they've been providing insurance risk protection, other than 2 years. So they've been doing a nice job for the city. ICAP is another option for the city, which I mentioned a minute ago that we can quote in the future as claims get under control. I sent out a summary of the renewal where increases are happening and where decreases are happening out to the council, in addition to additions and amendments to the policy. Does the council have any questions?
Doesn't appear.
So Beth received the bill. We just asked the council to consider payment of the bill prior to April 1st to continue payment with the safety group insurance program.
Jackie and I also discussed possibly changing our deductible for our collision, our automotive policy, moving that to $1,000 for, right now we have $250 and $1,000, so making them both $1,000. That would save us approximately $8,600 a year.
Beth and I also talked today about if COVID allows having another safety meeting with the supervisors and any council members that would like to attend, just to keep safety top of mind. Safety of the employees is the top priority, but reducing injuries will help insurance premium.
And we've had that meeting previously with Jackie, and it was pretty productive. It kind of walks everybody through with comp claims and any kind of claim really. And there was a lot more. We've gotten kind of strained with our COVID lockdown, so.
Yeah, but that's a
Probably be a
lunch
good
and learn
thing.
that we'll throw for the city. We do have an outstanding quote to increase deductibles on property to $2,500 per building or $5,000 per building. We'll get that number to Beth when we get that. We don't have that yet, but that would be an insurance savings also. Anything else on that?
So we're looking for a motion to renew.
Yep.
Move to renew.
Second.
Motion by Alan, second by John to renew the insurance policy. Any further council discussion? Any public comment?
Smith,
Yes.
Lockhart,
Yes.
Zumba,
Yes.
Stout,
Yes.
Apron,
Yes.
Crump,
Yes.
Motion carried unanimous. 8.4 Rotary fireworks request, Jackie Snyder.
So I'm president of the Rotary Club of Anamosa. And last year we were unable to have the firework program due to COVID. And so this year the board has voted to have the fireworks. The cost of fireworks is about $5,000. There's no admission fee for anyone that wants to come and watch the fireworks. We are not going to have a concession stand this year, which is a money raiser for us. And we're not going to have Rotary members walking around with collection buckets due to COVID concerns. We will ask business owners to make monetary donations as we've done in the past, but that has always created a shortfall. So from the bucket assembly that just walking around and collecting money, we usually collect about $1,100 and we make about $650 off of our concession stand. We'd like to ask the city if they would be willing to make up that difference from those two funding resources to help us pay for the fireworks this year.
That would fall within the fiscal budget, would it not?
Well, they'll probably purchase the fireworks before July 4th. So it'll probably be May or June when you're doing the payment to the fireworks.
Right. And then we'll work with the city on the insurance program because you guys have always paid for the insurance in the past also. This would just be an additional $1,750 that would make up for that shortfall that we can't collect this year.
So Beth, what portion of the budget would it come out of then?
So if you decide to do it, you could put it under just council contingency funds. So you do still have funds left there. You could do it to contributions to outside agencies. All of those are under the same program, so.
Okay.
Have you had any luck donations from businesses?
Those letters will go out next month. We don't
Okay.
really send them out too premature.
I've never gotten one.
You never got one?
I've never
I
gotten
would
one.
put you on my list, Alan.
I probably should have kept my mouth shut. for that.
So Jackie,
Yeah.
just a bit, what happens if you do not raise all the money that you need?
We'll have to pull it from another fund. For example, if we have the opportunity to have our Pumpkin Fest breakfast, we'll just have to pull it out of that instead of donating that to another organization within the city. So customarily, we have the pancake breakfast in the fall and we donate that to the fire department or another area of the city that needs some assistance. So we wouldn't be able to do that.
So
What kind-
basically, you plan on having a fire no matter what.
Say that again, Rich.
You plan on having the fireworks no matter what. Is that correct?
We feel it would be great for the community to have the fireworks. A lot of people missed it last year, and it would be a great celebration just to get back out together. And we trust that the people in the community will social distance and be respectful of everyone.
Can you give me an idea what the business donations were last year or the year before that?
Don't quote me, but I'm pretty sure they're about 32 or 3,300. That's what we bring in.
So then maybe the city could fill in the shortfall rather than take on the whole thing.
I think that's what. she
that's
was
what-
saying,
Okay.
1700.
17.
17. I'm going to make the motion to do the set $1,750 for fireworks.
I'll second that.
I have a motion by Rich, second by Kay, for the city to fund $1,750 for the fireworks for 2021.
Thank you very much.
Any
Appreciate
further
it.
council discussion? You don't quite have it yet.
Yeah, one more. I got one more thing. Send me a letter.
I will. You're right here at the top of my list. I will
Thank you very
I will
much.
let Janet know that.
If there's no further council discussion, public comment on this item. Beth, move us forward.
Capron,
Yeah.
Stout,
Yes.
Zumba,
Yes.
Lockhart,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Crump.
Yes.
Motion to fund carried unanimous. You now have the commitment, Jackie.
Thank you, council. Appreciate it.
you.
I'll report back.
8.5, presentation by Wapsie Insurance. This was a request that I had asked Beth to put on the agenda so the council could be informed. I do not believe, according to the way this is listed, that there can be an action item tonight.
It's true. We are currently not out for a request for proposal, so no other agent or our current agent was not informed of this item. I did send Brian Doyle a copy of the agenda so he could join us if he needed to.
So this is a presentation on your part.
Thank you. Angela Weinkoff, 201 Old Dubuque Road, Anamosa. I'm also the owner of Wapsie Insurance Services. I was in attendance at the council meeting on April 27th of 2020 when a presentation for the city's group health plan renewal was presented. At that time, I had been trying for several months to be afforded the opportunity to present an employee's benefits package to the city. The administrator at that time had led the council to believe at the beginning of that meeting that he had secured proposals and mentioned True North and Holmes Murphy. Later in that same discussion, the administrator of the city at that time did admit that he did not secure actual proposals with the numbers, but rather his relationship with the current broker was his deciding factor in providing the council with no other options. I'm here this evening requesting the opportunity to provide you with an employee benefits package proposal. It could allow you to offer the city a potential savings while still offering the employees an excellent benefits package. And it would also allow the city to support and work with a local small business. Sorry. Also, based on the information that was provided at that council meeting in April of 2020, I'd have to assume that it has been 3 years since there has been an external review of your employee benefits and the current broker. And also the current benefits package is not being purchased through a local agent. At the closing of last year's discussion, Rich Crump made the statement that if you were not going to do it at that time, next year you would need to get actual numbers from interested parties. And I am an interested party. I've brought my employee benefits team with me from Northrisk Partners. If you have any questions that you may want to ask them.
You said
North Risk Partners Benefit Solutions.
and where are they located?
Hiawatha is their home office, but as the local agent, they would be my broker.
Do you know what our employee benefits are of right now?
As of right now, none of that information has been shared with me. I would love to have the opportunity to review it. Tom and Andy are here to answer any questions that you guys may have. But without the information and the opportunity being afforded,
Yeah, I understand.
they do already work with several cities in the area. So it's not like this would be the first one. They're very familiar with the way city governments work and the benefit needs of cities. Would you like to hear anything from either of them?
Don't we have a specific time, like in April or May, when we do this review?
Yes, we do.
And so we should hear from your people at that time rather than now, I think. So we can compare, rather
Okay.
than trying to get one side now and another side in a couple of months.
So is the city opening that opportunity up this year for?
This is not an
No.
action.
I know,
No,
that's,
it's not.
on the
that's what I'm
agendas,
asking
So we really
for you
can't
guys to
answer that.
consider.
Yeah,
I had no intention of going out for an RFP this year because we are in the middle of updating our enterprise system at City Hall. It is quite a task to update employee benefits just during the renewal period, let alone changing vendors. I also am aware that our current vendor also has a local agent. Jackie has never requested to be our agent, but Acumen is her broker. So
so we're good with
we
where we
could
are.
we could have a local agent if we decided to go that route. She did not formally make that request and has not in the past,
I
but
think last year at that meeting, we made the assumption, or I think we actually decided that we would go for another 3 years from last year when I first came here. And we would possibly look into it every 3 years. So we still got this year and next year before we would really sit down and send out an RFP.
I went back and rewatched the council meeting from April 27th of last year. And there were no proposals given at that time. And it was stated by a council member that since you guys weren't doing proposals last year, that needed to be done this
I
year.
was the one that made the
So-
comment that we should look into it with every 3 years.
the proposals were given. So we had meetings with all of the benefits advisors that submitted RFPs. Jacob and Ginger Thomas would have had those meetings with them to review their proposals. We don't generally have everyone who submits proposal present to council. They need to present to the staff. The staff makes a recommendation to council after the proposals are done. Jacob did have interviews with everyone that submitted something last year. So
My
we did
request was
do-
denied.
We did do a formal RFP.
I tried several times and my request was denied.
So I don't know the reasoning for that, but we did do a formal RFP process last year, so we did do that. Our purchasing policy recommends that we do it every 3 years. Last year was our year that we did the RFP. I know it was very specific. I don't know if there was something omitted or it wasn't complete. I know his main focus was on commission rates because frankly, everybody else pulls insurance from the same pool.
You're correct.
So we're pretty well aware of how insurance works, having done benefits for a long time. So I know that was his main focus, so I don't know if the information was incomplete or what the reasoning was, but he made the decision and interviewed the people who submitted RFP. I didn't sit in on them, so I don't know firsthand what the discussion was, but I just know that was the request, was based on.
The real problem was that we could only work with the information that we got. And that's how we made our decision last year. Not next year, but the year after, we will have the same situation again where we'll have to make certain decisions and we send out RFPs at the time.
That is.
Unless any other council has input. My understanding then that we will revisit this in 2022 or 2023. Is that correct, Bob?
So budget year would be, so we're good for budget year 2022. 2023 would be fine. It'd be the following budget
So
year.
we'll review in 2023.
Right. Unless there's something that prompts generally our review is based on if we have a customer service issue or if there's a reason to believe our benefit package isn't up to snuff or what we're looking for. That would be the only reason to request an RFP. Generally, it's just to check to make sure that we're not overpaying for commission on our plans. Again, the plans are from the pool. Wellmark gives you all the same plans. We just work with what we're advised to do.
And I'm giving you an opportunity to maintain your plans and work with a local agent.
Right, but you're also asking us to change vendors and to violate an agreement we have in place with our current agent.
We're not doing that. That's not what we're doing. Can Andy step up here for a moment, please?
So we're not, so you are asking us to remove
I'm
our
asking for you guys
agent.
to actually consider instead of
We can't.
turning me down. I'm not asking you to make a decision at
We
this
can't.
time.
We can't even consider it. We could get ourselves in a legal bind doing that.
Acumen Advisors, Jackie is an agent for them. If we're going to change locally, we can stay within our same vendor. You're asking us to change vendors.
And it happens all the time.
Okay. Anyway, that's up to you. Best practice is not, I mean, that means necessarily that if you're the agent, then we can change from you as well as soon as someone else comes in. I mean, we like to honor our agreements and
My name's Andy Lehman. I work for North Risk Partners. I just wanted to step in just for a quick moment. I was in the meeting that I had with Jacob last year with him and Ginger, and no numbers were ever discussed with us. So I just wanted to emphasize that when we came into the meeting with him, we had requested what the city had currently had so we can come back with some numbers and some ideas to have the conversation with him. We were provided none of that information. So everything that we talked to them was very conceptual, and this is what we'd be able to offer. The price, the commission, none of that was ever brought up whatsoever. With where the city is sitting right now, you certainly in a mid-sized market where commissions are negotiable. We just wanted to come in and say, is the city getting everything that they're paying for their commissions rates? And that's what we wanted to double check.
Okay.
And that was not reviewed last April.
so exactly what did he call you in to meet with him for then? I mean, that's what we were told was that it was to review commission rate.
It was definitely not that. We had discussed different self-funding ideas, very high level, what kind of plan the city currently had, but no details were ever shared with us, and we had one meeting.
We apologize probably for that, for what happened through that, how that worked out, but like
I
I
would
said
have to-
before, we were given information from Jacob, okay? And that's what we had to work with. And if he didn't give us the information, we didn't have it to work with. So, I mean, now that we've got a vendor that's doing a good job right now. And in 2023 or whatever year it comes up, Beth even, I think, gave you a notice that if we did decide to, and that is if we decide to, you would get an RFP. We would have you come in and do the same thing you're doing tonight, which right now we can't do anything about right now. We can't do anything. We're in contract. What's that? We're in contract, and if all we have to do is get a reputation of jumping ship from one to another, pretty soon nobody's going to want to work with us. We're being taken well care of right now, and I'm not saying you guys couldn't do it either. But this is not the situation. This is not the place to argue about it or the place to do it. Not right now.
Thanks for listening.
8.6, resolution setting the date of March 22nd, 2021 at 6 PM at the Anamosa Library and Learning Center and via Zoom for public hearing on the proposed annual budget for fiscal year 2022.
Move to approve.
Second.
Second.
Motion by Kay, second by Alan. Any further discussion? Public comment? Beth?
I only have one comment, and that is that there's 2 copies of the budget available here at the library, if anybody wants to view them. I've also put it on the city's website, and there's a copy at City Hall if they want to look at paper.
So that this has been posted for anybody that
Correct.
would have liked to have viewed it prior to tonight.
Yeah.
And has anyone approached you about questions or concerns?
For the budget?
Yes.
No. No, and they can, so questions and concerns can always come to the public hearing, which will be on the 22nd. So, but they can always call ahead of time if they have a question on the budget form itself, and we can go through that.
Would you conduct the roll vote, please?
Crump,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Capron,
Yes.
Stout,
Yes.
Lockhart,
Yes.
Zumba,
Yes.
Motion carried unanimous. 8.7, resolution hiring and setting salary for street general labor.
Move to approve.
Second.
I did not pick up on who's second.
It was me.
I'll give it to Jeff.
Motion by Rich, second by Jeff. Any further discussion? Any comment? Beth?
Smith,
Yes.
Lockhart,
Yes.
Zumba,
Yes.
Stout,
Yes.
Capron,
Yes.
Crump,
Yes.
Motion carried unanimous. 8.8, review and approval of liquor license renewal for La Hacienda.
Move to approve.
Second.
Second.
I thought I heard a motion by Jeff and second by Alan.
Correct.
You're
All
right.
right. Any other discussion? If we're not hearing anything from the chief, I say that we move forward.
Lockhart,
Yes.
Zumba,
Yes.
Crump,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Capron,
Yes.
Stout,
Yes.
Motion carried unanimous. 8.9, review and approval of current bills.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Alan, second by John. Any discussion on the items listed?
One question, on the date of March 8th, the boomerang for 12,286. What is an Aramod? What's Aramod repair?
That would be at the wastewater plant. So the
Okay.
Aeromont is the actual aeration tanks.
Okay.
And it had been broken under the water, so it was a little bit of an operation to fix that.
Okay.
Speaking of boomerang, what's the 8,897 Third Street manhole? What happened there?
That is the manhole on Third and Hamilton from several months ago. Long time ago. Maybe last summer.
Yeah.
That's the one they placed on the corner there, the
Right.
brand new one?
September. It was the end of last September, according to Shane.
Okay. Has anybody ever hooked into it yet?
The manhole? Yeah.
Yeah.
So everything's installed. I know that the Carlsons were going to hook up to that manhole. I don't know the status of that. I can find out if you need to know.
Well, I mean, unless somebody hooks into it, it seems like kind of a wasted thing to do, but
Well, I had talked to Mike Schaefer because it had been a topic before. So they initially were going to put a manhole there because there's a lack of a clean out in that area. And so this is quite a ways past that time when they wanted to put it in, but it was kind of prompted by them not being able to hook that Carlson line onto another place that was just a better location to hook it into the sewer because it needs to have the line replaced there. So that kind of
Okay.
prompted installation.
Any other discussion? We have a motion by Alan, second by John to pay the bills. Yeah.
Crump,
yes.
Schaefer,
Yes.
Stout,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Zumba,
Yes.
Mockart.
Yes.
Motion to pay the bills carried unanimous. 9.0, city administrators report.
So I had spoken to Jeff earlier this week, and we talked a little bit about the derecho claim at the Lawrence Center. So I'm going to give you a little bit of an update on that. Shelley may have some more information at this time. So initially we had the claims adjuster we had was out of Alabama, I believe. So anyway, just some things got lost. He had gone to do a couple hurricane claims right after that. So we are working with a different claims adjuster. We have had contractors out. Right now, we're really just waiting on materials. Apparently, there's been some issues getting steel roofing and some other things. So I have talked to the roofer. Once we get the roof in place, then we can finish the repairs on the inside. But it's just been mainly a contractor material delay. We're getting there. So yeah, it's so we have three buildings that need to have steel roof put on, renewable energies. The street shop has a small area, and then the Lawrence Center, the large roof. Other than that, everything else is pretty well done. We've got a few things in the parks, a scoreboard. But other than that, we're getting there. And as we know from the fire department's building, steel has gone up a little bit and it's a little bit harder to find, so we'll be patient. Other than that, we're interviewing wastewater superintendent candidates on Friday morning. We'll see how that goes.
Council have any questions for Beth?
How many
for the wastewater did you gonna interview?
So I had 4 potential. One is actually out of town, so we're gonna interview 3. And then he'll be back that next week. So I guess we'll see how the interviews go on Friday and then decide if we're gonna pull the 4th one in. I've also, as Chad alluded to, I've had some conversations with him about, what happens if we don't find a suitable person? What are our other options as far as getting a contractor in here to at least do the operation of the plant. Dave and Bill are more than capable of doing the jetting and the collection system. Rachel is going to be leaving us. This will be her last week with us. So we'll be down one other person there.
Have we pursued anything with the vacated clerk position?
So I have rewritten the ad. I need to talk to Patrick a little bit about a possibility of maybe separating the finance officer position from the clerk to see if we could go that route. I've had a few interviews. So far, nothing, but
It's kind of a
we're
work in
still
progress.
trying. Yeah, so yeah, I figured I'll tweak the ad a little bit. It is a very accounting-driven position. You are the city's finance officer, so that's been kind of the hang up, is getting someone to apply with those credentials.
Okay. Certainly keep us abreast of how that's going, if you would, please. Anything else? 10.0 Mayor and Council reports. 10.1 Mayor's report. Just to recap the fundraiser, Valentine's Day for the statue was a success, well attended. They raised approximately $4,000 to secure that, which in the Anamosa Pride meeting today, they feel confident that they will be able to get the statue here next month. Something.
Permanently or on loan again?
Well, that agreement would be on loan, and they're still pursuing it to have its final resting place.
Thank you.
That's all I have. 10.2 council reports.
Emergency management didn't have a meeting. 911 changed the agreement to service the generator up there at the courthouse. And then they're looking, hopefully, don't get something like Duratio if it wipes everything out, to get somewhere of the tower so they would, all the emergency services would still be able to connect with everybody in the county. Something they're looking into. Said, never know anymore after last year what's going to happen. So that was about it.
2020 was certainly interesting, wasn't it? Any other reports?
Yeah, the roof came out from under the snow. And there are still shingles on it.
That's a good thing.
It looked okay.
All right. 11.0 public comment for items not on the agenda. Please come up if you would. Supervisor Swisher.
Jeff Swisher, Jones County Supervisor. Appreciate the council's help with the COVID shots at the community center. One thing to keep in mind is when this is all over, we need to thank all the volunteers that are helping do this. I don't know how we're going to thank them, but I think we need to at least get them in the paper with their picture. If you've not been down to the shot clinic, I encourage you to go. Jeremiah was with me this weekend. They'll take you on a tour and show you what they're actually doing. And there's only about 4 of them that are full-time workers. The rest of them are volunteers. So, and they're people in your community that help save lives. So just thought I'd throw that out there.
Good deal.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Please.
I might just piggyback. This is Jackie Schneider again. Piggyback onto what Jeff said. Positively Anamosa has a Facebook page. And I would just like to let the whole community know that it's out there and to send myself or Lisa McQuillan pictures of great things that are happening in the community. It's a great center for us to unite as a community about all the great things that are happening. So if there's pictures from your shot clinic or the police officers playing basketball, please send those to us. We would love to post all of that because there's a lot of really wonderful things happening. Thank you.
Rebecca, is anybody garnering your attention to speak with the council?
Not so far.
All right. I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
Move.
Second.
Adjourn.
Motion by Alan, second by John to adjourn. All those in favor signify with aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Adjourn. Thank you, everyone.